Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics. How you doing? Welcome to the Fantasy MDs Baseball Podcast. Today is Wednesday, August 10th. This is our 45th episode. If you guys like, the podcast, you've been enjoying the MDs. If we helped you at all this year, hopefully we want to continue to help you into the playoffs. All we ask of you is, wherever you listen, if you could drop us a little 5-star rating and just write a little something good about us, hopefully we'd appreciate it. It goes a long way. If you're watching on the YouTube, just hit that little bell there, subscribe. It, will notify you every time we drop a new video. Other than that, though, I'm your host, Dominic Martino, here with my co-host, my partner in crime, my best friend, Matthew Ane. Matt, how we doing today, brother?
Doing all right. The usual. What about
Fair enough.
yourself, man? How we doing?
I'm doing all right. My teams are getting a little healthier. I'm still in first place in all my leagues that matter. So I can't be doing better as far as fantasy baseball goes. I'll put it that way.
No doubt.
All right, so today we got somewhat rather interesting subject as far as I'm concerned. We wanted to talk about Josh Hader. He's just got traded over to the Padres from the Brewers, and he had a little meltdown. The other day it looked like he blew the save against the Giants on Tuesday night. He gave up a hit, 3 walks, and didn't even get a full innings worth of work. He only got 2 outs there. So, and on the year, Josh Hader's numbers are a little bit elevated than what we're used to seeing from, probably the best closer over the last 3-4 years in baseball, right? So on the year, Josh Hader's pitched 36 innings. He's got 63 strikeouts. You like to see that, but a 4.66 ERA and a 1.17 WHIP. He does have the 29 saves and 2 wins, which I think he's at least up there in the top of for saves this year. But otherwise, it's been kind of a disappointing season. He gets traded to the new team. You think a fresh start, the numbers might get a little bit better. But it seems like he's sticking on track with that 4 ERA there. Last year he had that 1.23 ERA. The year before it was a little bit elevated, 3.79. But on his career, Josh Hader's a 2.54 ERA guy with a career 0.89 WHIP. So, Matt and I were doing a little deep dive in here, and what I happened to see was the only big thing that I could see is his fastball is not spinning the same way it used to in the past. So maybe hitters are able to pick up on it a little bit more. He's getting barreled up a bit. He's putting a few extra guys on base with the walks. But it's not the same guy we're used to seeing. I personally think unless he gets this figured out, we might see a little bit more of the same. I don't think the Padres are going to make a change at a closer anytime soon, especially after all they gave up in this trade. They gave up quite a few big names there to go out and get them. They gave up, I believe it was Esteury Ruiz was a big name there for the Brewers picked up. Taylor Rogers goes back to the Brewers. A couple of interesting guys. It's just a bit odd to see him not get back to that dominance with the fresh start. It's just very, very weird for me to see. Matt, I'd love your thoughts here on if the Padres gave up too much to get him, and if you think Josh Hader is going to figure this out for the rest of the way.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like he has had one bad start and one bad outing out of 3 that he's been there. The other 2 outings he didn't give up any runs. So it's one of those things where he probably just had a bad game. I mean, the guy just moved. I mean, I can't speak for his whole season. Maybe he knew the trade was coming. Maybe he wasn't happy about it. Maybe he didn't want to leave. Maybe he didn't want to uproot his family. Maybe his family didn't come with him yet. There's still some stuff going on in the man's personal life as to can speak to why he's having the season that he's having. That are unknown factors to us as simple fantasy baseball players. But what I can say is, I think once he gets more wins than he's normally used to on the Twins, I think he'll start sharpening up a little bit. That's really just all I can say on that. Can't really speak for the man to that point, but I'm hoping he gets better. I can't say he will or will not.
Yeah, fair enough, Matt. And as we always say here on the MDs, when you head over to a new team, as Matt was kind of alluding to, you got to move, you get a whole lifestyle change. His family's got to get over there with him. He's probably looking at houses. There's a lot that goes along with, moving to a new team. And that's not just baseball. That's any sport, there's a lot of, as Matt was saying, a lot of unknown things that go on, in that process. So we are wishing Josh Hader the best. Here on the MDs, we don't really, hate anybody. We want to see all these baseball players play their best. So here's to hoping that Josh Hader can get figured out. And I truly think he can. This is very, very uncharacteristic of him. As we, I read off his stats earlier. He's the Josh Hader's a career, a dominant closer. He's only 28 years old too, so he's not even that old. But let's hope and pray that Josh Hader can get this figured out. And I'll say this: I don't think there's really any chance he gets removed from the closer role. So I would, if you got Josh Hader, I wouldn't be looking to trade him over the next few days before the trade deadline. I would stand back and think that he gets things figured out most likely sooner than later. We just wanted to have the discussion here, and point out a couple things that we did notice as far as like fastball spin rate and probably putting a few too many guys on base with the walks, but it's something that could easily get figured out, right? So we'll move along here. We'll head into the news and notes. And Matt, you know the routine already. Just cut me off at any point in time if there's something you want to talk about. So let's get it started. This is once great news, guys. I know I've been kind of talking about him a little bit, but we're going to keep you updated a little bit along the way. Fernando Tatis Jr., working his way back from that wrist injury. He's finally turned it up in his third rehab game. He doubled, tripled, and walked twice in 4 at-bats. So he was on base in all 4 of his at-bats. They're saying he could be back by next week, guys. So if you got him on your team, get ready to, drop somebody and get him back in that lineup sooner than later. Then we got Mike Trout. He's working his way from that back injury, which is, he had that specific condition, Matt. I forget it. I don't know if you recall what it was, but he has some sort of very specific back condition there, Mike Trout, that he's working his way back from.
Oh, I forgot.
Yeah, me too. But it is something that is a little bit, that they said could possibly bother him for the rest of his career. But he began hitting off a tee. He could have returned before the end of the season, but that's no guarantee, especially since the Angels really aren't making too much noise as far as the playoff race goes. But if they get hot here, maybe they try and get him back to make that playoff push. But I don't foresee that really happening. I think maybe Mike Trout kind of probably sits the rest of the year, which is disappointing for fantasy managers and all baseball fans, all across the world here. Then we got Julio Rodriguez. He is eligible to be activated Wednesday, but that's not going to happen. They're saying it's looking more like Friday, according to Mariners manager Scott Service. But he has been participating in baseball activities the last few days. I've seen him in the outfield shagging fly balls. He's been taking some BP. So hopefully he gets back on Friday. In worse news, though, we got Bryce Harper, with that thumb and elbow issue. He still hasn't progressed to hitting. They're slowed down his throwing program. It looks like the Phillies are playing it super, super safe with him. Phillies manager Rob Thompson says that Harper could be back by early September. But you know what? Once again, this is a kind of a Mike Trout situation here, I would say. If the Phillies really aren't making a huge playoff push, I don't know if they bring Harper back before the end of the year. But, it's
They
kind
don't,
of
even if they are. No shot.
Right,
I think that sadly, I think they were trying to avoid surgery, and I think we might hear something. And this is this is me speculating, everybody, but I think we might hear surgery. I think we might be hearing TJ.
I mean, that would probably be worst case scenario here. But as far as the Phillies are saying, he could make a return this year, and that's once again according to Phillies manager Rob Thompson. But I do hear what Matt's saying. It could be a scenario where, let's say, he starts taking BP within the next couple of weeks, and he's not feeling right, and they get an MRI or an X-ray there, and they see something that they don't like, and maybe there could be some off-season surgery in Bryce Harper's future. But, all Bryce Harper managers, let's keep our fingers crossed there on that one. Next up, we got Wanda Franco. He's working his way back from that wrist injury there. They said he could begin taking BP on Friday. He's still not expected to return at least late this month or early September. Once again, another guy, Tampa Bay is doing better than the Angels and the Phillies. But then again, I could totally see the Rays playing it safe with their young superstar, big contract, and maybe he doesn't return till next year as well. But once again, that's just some speculation here at the MDs, so I would plan without, even when Wanda Franco was healthy this year, he wasn't, dominating the way people expected him to. So just have a backup plan there. So I guess we could just call this the bad news segment instead of the news segment, because as of right now, I just got nothing but bad news for you guys. Chris Bryant with that plantar fascia, they actually got him in a walking boot now, with no timetable for his return. That's not what you like to hear at all. Looks like a lost season. Matt and I have been saying that. I know Matt was telling you to trade him when we were talking about trade deadline stuff. Lost season here for Chris Bryant, guys. I would just, if you keep a dynasty, obviously you hold them for next year and you just hope out for the best. But redraft right now, hey, if you need that IL spot, I'm not afraid to cut bait at this point, because you know what? We don't really know what's going to happen with him, going forward here, at least for the rest of this year. Then we got Giancarlo Stanton in a little bit better news, with that Achilles. He's been ramping up baseball activities over the last few days. They say he could need the Yankees came out and said that he could need a couple games in the minors, possibly starting this weekend, maybe he'll be back next week. But it looks like we're going to get Stanton back sooner than later. Then we got Chris Hale. This one back to the bad news segment. Chris Hale is out the rest of the year after fracturing his wrist in a motorcycle accident. So we do have that one there for you. Look out for Sale again next year. He is getting a little bit older. I don't know if we're drafting him as high as we used to, but hey, it's an upside pick. I probably maybe rank him around 30 or 40 next year if he's coming in healthy. More bad news. Tim Anderson heads to the 10-day injured list with I'm not sure I'm going to say this right, but bear with me. Sagittal band tear in the middle finger of his left hand. Matt, what do we got there? I'm going with sagittal.
I'm gonna go with you because I can't speak for the life of me anyway.
Fair enough. So we're gonna say a sagittal band tear in the middle finger of his left hand. He's gonna undergo surgery to get that repaired. He's gonna be sidelined for that at least the next 6 weeks. So he's gonna be out to late September. So I'm gonna go in the same route of Chris Bryant here. He's definitely a dropped in redraft. Keepers, dynasties, if you're only keeping, I'd say, if you're keeping like 6, 7 guys, maybe even less than that, Tim Anderson might be a drop there if you need the IL spot as well. So, just adjust accordingly with that one, guys. A little bit of better news here. We got boy Little Jack Flaherty, was working his way back from that shoulder issue. He's supposed to start a minor league rehab assignment yesterday when you guys are listening to this. He's going to throw 30 to 35 pitches. The Cardinals came out and said he could return to the rotation before the end of the year, but I would hold my breath. I wouldn't hold my breath on that one because, as we know, even when Jack played this year, he wasn't really performing at the level we know Jack Flaherty can, and the phalanges on him are super, super weak. He's been banged up a lot over the last 3-4 years. So if you have the extra IL spot, unlimited IL spots, yeah, sure, keep him there. But if you're really hurting on the IL, you got too many guys banged up. There's a lot of other directions you can go with that IL spot. But, hey, when Jack is, doing his thing, he is one of the better pitchers in baseball. I would plan more of him for a big year next year, as long as he's healthy and everything is going right. Then we got John Birdie working his way back from that groin injury. He's been playing well in the minors, stealing a couple bases down there. The Marlins are saying he could be back within a week or so. So, you get that speedster back in your lineup. I believe he was leading the league in steals before he went down. He actually still might be.
Better lock up your kitchen sink because he's going to steal that again.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. John Birdie's been a very, very good pickup this year for, fantasy leagues. Then we got Trevor Story of the Boston Red Sox working his way back from that hairline fracture in his wrist. He was finally cleared to start swinging a bat. They're saying late August to early September with Trevor Story. But then again, another guy, it's been kind of underperforming this year. Maybe when he gets back, he picks it up. But, I wouldn't hold my breath on that one either. We got another Boston Red Sox up next. Tanner Houck headed to the 15-day IL with a lower back inflammation. No timetable on his return. As we saw with Chris Bryant and a lot of other guys this year, those back injuries, man, they could be, pretty bad at certain points. I would recommend Garrett Whitlock as, a pickup if you losing Tanner Houck as, your closer, Garrett Whitlock. I know he's been working, 2 innings at a time lately, but, he did get a shot at the closer's role, I believe, few weeks ago to a month ago. They let him get a couple saves. So I'm just speculating there on that one. We'll give you more information as that becomes clear who gets the next couple saves there. And then, last bad news here, New York Yankee fans and anyone that had him in fantasy, this guy's been playing like an all-star all year. That's Matt Carpenter. He fouled the ball off his foot and wound up being fractured. And he's, I just saw the update. It's 6 to 8 weeks, but that's the rest of the season, guys. We're wrapping this thing up in 6 to 8 weeks. So, I would probably cut bait there. I don't really think he's worth the stash, to be honest with you. We wish Matt Carpenter well. Hopefully he gets back soon. Yankees need to give him a shot next year to do the same thing because he's been absolutely fantastic this year. And guys, with that being said, that's the news and notes for today. We're going to head into our waiver wire segment. And Matt, I know these guys are probably getting tired of listening to my voice. So is there anyone there that you particularly like that you want to lead off with here?
Let's see here. So it looks like we got Vinny Pasquantino.
Oh, the Italian breakfast. Probably the best nickname in baseball right now. I absolutely love that name. Nickname.
Yes. So Mr. Pask over here has been killing it over the last 2 weeks, truthfully. Most of his production has been this week, but you know what? Over 2 weeks, he's batting at 289, so I'm going to take that. But this week, he has 3 runs, 2 bombs, 4 ribbies, batting 318. So, you know what? He's definitely a nice little scoopity scoop. First base eligibility, which is really nice. And personally, he's definitely worth it at 14% owned. So, he has a lot of upside. He's known for his power. And you know what? He's definitely an average guy. I think that, it took a little time to get adjusted to the bigs, and now he's kind of figuring it out. And plus, you know what? That Kansas City Royals team is really nice and young. So it looks like there's gonna be a lot of people on base for him.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of Vinny Pasquantino. Once again, the Italian breakfast. What an awesome nickname. Yeah, as Matt said, he's been very, very good in his minor league career. He's always hit at least 280 in the minors. As Matt said, he has a lot of pop. 18 bombs in 69 games in the minors this year. He also chipped in 51 runs, 67 RBIs, 3 steals. And as I mentioned, he did hit 280 in that stretch there in the minors this year. So far in the majors, it's taken him a little bit of time to adjust. But you know what? If you guys been playing fantasy at all this year, it's been a very, very middling year for rookies this year. If you're not named Julio Rodriguez, you probably haven't been hitting that well in the major leagues. And I think we're going to see more of that going forward in the future. I think we got very lucky over the last few years with guys like Soto and Acuna and Tatis and guys that just came up and raked right away. That's very, very uncommon. It doesn't happen that often, so I don't think we're going to see it. I think look at guys like O'Neal Cruz and Riley Green. Very, very slow to adjust to big league pitching. But it looks like Vinny Pasquantino is starting to do it here. He's up to 5 bombs on the year, 9 RBIs. He's got the batting average up to 237. If I had to throw out a comp there for him, I think he's very, very Max Muncy-ish and Max Muncy, good Max Muncy, not Max Muncy from this year. But he's got a lot of pop. I think he could be a 250 to 260 hitter, Vinny Pasquantino. And as Matt said, that Royals team is going to be getting a lot better, going forward. So if he's hitting in the middle of that lineup, I think he's going to do a lot of damage. On August 9th, across the doubleheader, he had 2 home runs, 3 RBIs. On August 5th, he had a 3-hit game. So it looks like Vinny Pasquantino is finally finding his stride here. He's 14% owned on Yahoo. First base eligible only, but if you need a first baseman right now, it looks like Big Vinny P is getting it done over the past couple of weeks. So let's keep it going with the rookies, right? We gotta once again, guys. Remember what we saying about rookies here. It's a slow adjustment, but we got a couple rookies here. Let's go with Vaughn Grisham first. Shortstop for the Atlanta Braves, just got the call. He's been very, very good in the minors. Just bear with me here as I grab his stats because baseball reference, we all know how that likes to be at times, right? So in the minors, Vaughn Grisham this year specifically is hitting 324 across 2 different levels. That's double A, single A and double A. He's hitting 324, 27 steals. So one thing that always translates to the big leagues is speed. So if he's getting on base, he's definitely going to steal you a few of them as well. 67 RBIs, 14 bombs. So there's a little pop in that bat too. 72 runs, and that's of course 96 games for Vaughn Grisham. I don't think he's going to hit too high in that lineup, but you know what? The Braves lineup is absolutely deadly no matter where he's hitting. He's actually hitting 9th today on Wednesday, August 10th. So you know what? It's like the second leadoff hitter. So if he gets on base, right behind him comes that top of the lineup. Comes Dansby, comes Austin Riley, comes all of those guys. So I think there's a little upside here. If I'm picking up Vaughn Grisham, I'm expecting a little bit of speed. I don't know about the batting average. That's yet to be seen. The Braves are very, very good with their rookies. So maybe he does come up and he, gets you a little batting average too. Maybe a little bit of runs. So I'd be looking at 3 categories there for him. Don't know if that power is going to translate right away. Probably not going to get too many RBIs hitting 9th in the Braves lineup. But you know what? If you need that shortstop, Vaughn Grisham is 12% owned on Yahoo. I think there's some upside here with the kid. He's 21 years old. So, once again, not banking on too much. But you know what? You could take the shot on him. I'm not dropping anybody, that's really helping me right now to go out and get him. But you know what? You can go out there and make the move if you got somebody at the end of your bench that's either hurt that you need to get rid of or, somebody that's been underperforming for the last few months. But once again, I wouldn't drop anybody too crazy to go out there and get the kid Vaughn Grisham.
Yeah, I mean, he's coming out of kind of like left field too. Like I haven't really heard too much about him outside of what he's been doing in there. But in terms of like prospect ranking, do you even know where he's ranked?
I can get that for you if you want to keep
Yeah.
ranking for a little bit.
Yeah, so like he's kind of one of those guys who's just kind of been just the opportunity has arose. I mean, with Albie's down and with his face is hurt too. Whatever it is, it opens up second base where he's naturally a shortstop. So essentially,
Yeah, yeah.
he
I believe
really
that's where they're going to play him too. I believe he's going to
right,
get second base.
right. So essentially, he didn't like will his way onto that lineup. It was kind of more of like, hey, like there's an opportunity. He's playing good. Let's call him up. What's up?
No, because you know what? What's it? Is it Arcia that got hurt? That's playing second base for him
Yeah,
right now. Yeah, it was
Aurelio
Arcia,
Garcia.
right?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
there we go.
two
Because
guys.
it popped into my head. That's why I made that face.
Right. So two guys got hurt, and it's one of those things where it's like, hey, this is how you got here. But he is killing it. Don't get me wrong, but like he isn't somebody I'm like running out there to get.
He's
So
the 98th prospect in all of
right.
MLB right now, according to MLB.com.
So he kind of has like no business being up, in my opinion. So it's one of those things where you can add him. Let's see what he does because he does have a nice bat. 14 bombs, if I remember. He stole a bunch of bases.
Well, I'll tell you this: he's actually the Braves' #1 prospect, though. He's the Braves' #1 prospect.
So he still probably wasn't coming up for quite some time, though, if you really think about it. He really wasn't probably coming up for at least another year. They're going to have to find some room for him. So, it's one of those things where, hey, he might give you some production, especially at second base, which is pretty putrid. And he probably could earn the spot because Avisil is not great, and I don't know when Albies is coming back, so he might earn some full-time playing time. But I mean, I think his opportunity is only for as long as Avisil's hurt. So you can take what you can, but let's see what he does over the weekend, and then we'll talk about it on Monday. Essentially, is how I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I fully agree with you there on Von Grisham because you know what, as you said, Ozzy Albies supposed to come back sooner than later. I was hearing around September for him. So, as soon as they get somebody back, healthy at second, if Von Grisham's not hitting, he might head back down. So I wouldn't be out there dropping anybody too significant for him.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Who do I like? Oh, well, I always like a person with a girl's first name, and that's
There we
Mr.
go. Are we going with the other rookie?
Carrie Carpenter.
Yes, sir.
All right. Let me get him up real quick.
Well, I'll tell you this, guys. I do want to throw this caveat out there. I actually just checked. He's still not available on Yahoo.
No, he's not.
Yahoo has not put him into their system yet, which is very, very disappointing. Because as we were saying with Von Grisham, these two kids were raking in the minors. They were down there doing their thing. That is why they both got the call. But Matt, you can go ahead. What are you thinking about Carrie Carpenter?
I'm just trying to get his stats right quick. Here we go. So Carrie, on the year, all right, 2022. He has, God, I hate Baseball Reference. I can't even tell you. I have some serious feedback for you guys.
You want me to read it off for you?
I got it again. Yeah.
Let's go for it, brother.
358 at bats, 60 runs, 27 doubles, 30 bombs. That's really nice. 75 ribbies, 3 stolen bases, and he's batting 313 to boot. So, this is the way I look at it. He's kind of more of like a, hey, like, let's see what he does. Honestly, if he comes out in the next day or so and says like, yo, like I'm the guy, I might scoop him up because that production, that 30 bombs with the average, I can't even tell you how many guys even have 30 bombs in the minor leagues right now. Not many. That's a real power bat right there. And especially the bat power plus average, I'm going to take that all day. So he's somebody I'm probably going to run out and grab and see what his upside is. He might have some long-term value right there, at least for me. I don't know what your opinion is on him, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. Another guy that kind of came out of nowhere. You want to talk about someone that's really, really coming out of left field. He's not an MLB top 100 prospect. He's the Detroit Tigers number 22 overall prospect. There's a bunch of other outfielders that Detroit, has ranked over him, as far as MLB.com prospects goes. But as Matt mentioned, this kid, Carrie Carpenter's out there, hitting in the minor leagues. And you know what? I can care less where you are on a list. It's really about what you're doing for me while you're out there, playing, right? And as
this
Matt
could be a
mentioned,
Soto.
27 doubles and 30 bombs and 3 steals to boot, at 24 years old, looks like he's finally coming into his own. He's hit over 300 a couple of times in the minors, in past years. It looks like he had some sort of injury there for 2020 because he didn't play all of 2020. Oh, actually, they did not have a minor league season in all of 2020, if I remember correctly, due to COVID. So, he didn't get the chance to play there, but you know what? He came back out, in 2021, had a decent year at 262 with 15 bombs across 112 games. But, this year, as Matt read you off his stat, the 27 doubles and 30 bombs is very, very impressive. I'll tell you this. Another guy, I'm not super rushing out there to get him because, one, the Detroit lineup is absolutely putrid. So there's not really many guys that he's going to drive in or get driven in by. You're kind of just out there hoping, he kind of, keeps those bombs going. But he's an interesting pickup. So, you're going to have to wait to snag him on Yahoo. I'm not sure if he's out there on CBS or ESPN yet. But I'd say that CBS is usually on top of their stuff. He might be out there on CBS. It looks like he's going to play outfield for the Tigers. So if you do need an outfielder, it's definitely a little speculation ad here. But it's interesting. He's definitely an interesting with the way that he's playing down there in the minors. Once again, that's Carrie Carpenter of the Detroit Tigers. I'll tell you this though, if I had the opportunity and I needed to pick up an outfielder, I might go with this guy next instead, and that's Randall Grichuk. Grichuk. If you have been playing fantasy over the last few years, you heard the name before. He's over there in Coors Field now, Colorado, a great park to hit in, and he's finally picking it up. On August 9th, yesterday, he went 5 for 5 with a bomb, 3 runs, 3 RBIs. On August 7th, he went 2 for 4 with a run. On August 5th, he went 3 for 4 with a bomb, 2 runs. So he's kind of just been raking lately, chips in a couple of stolen bases too on the year. Grichuk has 43 runs, 12 bombs, 58 RBIs, 3 steals, batting .270. That's across 345 at bats. He's 50% owned on Yahoo, and honestly, he's produced in the past, so we know it's not really too fluky. He's done similar stuff to this. Has pretty good power. He's driving in a decent amount of runs. And once again, as my friend Matt says, it's not a great batting average, but hey, you take 270 off the wire with a little power in Coors Field, man, he might be out there, producing for the rest of the season. In my opinion, I would go out there and probably the number one waiver wire ad as far as everybody we're talking about today, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not going to disagree with anything you just said. I mean, he's hitting, we call it 396 over 2 weeks, and over the last month 356. So he's on a little hot streak. He's definitely a ride the wave situation, and I mean he's in course. So it's one of those things. The ball's going to fly out that fence no matter how you scratch it. So it definitely the upside is there, and hopefully you can manufacture some wins to get you in the playoffs because they're around the corner, and we'll go from there. But I think we just move on from here, and we start talking about the pitcher situation. So we're going to talk about Mr. Jesus Luzardo. If you heard around the All-Star break, I did tell you to stash him.
Yeah, we were chanting to stash this guy.
Yep, and he's kind of doing exactly what I thought he was going to do. Over the last 12 innings that he's had, 1 W, 11 Ks, and a 1.50 ERA, a .42 WHIP. Okay, he's picking right up where he left off. I think the kid has finally figured it out. He is definitely somebody that I actively went out and got. He's about 50% owned, so right under that cusp where we kind of don't talk about him. But in those 3% of leagues that can, and honestly, the 43%, you should go out and scoop him because I'm telling you right now, he's going to be that fantasy glory championship kind of push kind of guy. And in dynasty and keeper leagues, I would hope you already have him. But if he's sitting on you there on the waivers on your keeper league, I would scoop him up real quick because I think this is what we're about to see on the reg. And next year is probably going to be something real special. So, Jesus Luzardo, probably my number one pitcher ad this week.
Yeah, man, I'm right on board there with you. I drafted this guy and I'd say in 90% of my leagues. I think there was one league where somebody sniped him from me, but I had him coming into the year in every league, and he just came out and dominated. Those numbers on the year are looking absolutely fantastic. So on the year for Luzardo, 41 innings, 52 Ks, 3 wins, a 3.29 ERA, and a 0.95 WHIP. He's absolutely great at keeping guys off base. I think he's out there learning from guys like Sandy Alcantara, Pablo Lopez. All those great pitchers that the Marlins have, and the pitching coaches there absolutely know what they're doing because, all of these pitchers that they have coming up through the works look absolutely great. Jesus Luzardo is only 24 years old, man. There's so many great things to say about him. He has absolutely great stuff. He throws hard. His breaking stuff is good. I think, as Matt said, going forward in the future, I'm gonna have him ranked pretty high coming into next year. Just the only one thing I'm going to throw out a caveat is looks like he might be lined up against the Braves in his next outing. So you know what? I'm going to throw him out there just to see what happens. But even if he gets hit hard, you don't drop him. You kind of just ride the wave with the kid. And, you kind of see what happens. I know at the end of last year, Matt and I were talking about Luzardo a lot when he got traded to Miami because they threw the glasses on him. I watched his first outing with the Marlins, and I think I texted Matt right away. I was like, he's wearing glasses. Because that to me says, hey, that might have been the problem. Maybe he wasn't seeing things the right way, and that being a starting pitcher, you're throwing 5, 6, 7 innings, your eyes start to wear down. You're staring at the one. I know I wear contact lenses and I take them out, and things get a little bit, blurry at times. So that's definitely a big, big fix. And I'll just throw this out, going into, next year when you're evaluating starting pitchers specifically, you want to look for a change. What are they doing something different? Is their fastball harder? Or are they throwing a different pitch? Or are they wearing glasses? Things of that sort. Because when you see a change like that, that usually indicates, something was wrong in the past and they could potentially fix it and get it right. So, especially with Jesus Luzardo, as Matt mentioned, 57% owned on Yahoo. That's got to be way, way closer to 100 at this point because, he's going to be in for a big second half. Might not be every single game, but I think on most nights, Luzardo's going to go out there, strike out a bunch of dudes, 5, 6 innings at minimum. And, for 24 years old, the bright, bright future for Luzardo. So let's keep it moving. And I'm going to go with my boy, guys. I tell you almost every week, if not every other week, I try and keep it to at least every other week, but that's Dustin May, guys. I don't know how many times I got to tell you and, just rant about him. This is your last chance. You will not hear another chance where he's 52% owned. He's been dominating in the minors. He's hitting 99.3 miles an hour, a 1.69 ERA, 26 strikeouts, 5 walks in 5 rehab games, 16 innings. Once again, 26 strikeouts and 5 walks in 16 innings with a 1.69 ERA. Another 24-year-old. He's 15 months removed from Tommy John, very Justin Verlander-esque. They played it very safe with him, which I think is the smart thing to do with a guy coming back from Tommy John, because you see a lot of guys get rushed back into it like a Severino and they just wind up getting hurt again. And, I think that the Dodgers are playing it perfect here with Dustin May. He's been absolutely dominant his whole major league, minor league career. The Los Angeles Dodgers are another team that's very, very good with starting pitching. You need to stash Dustin May because you know what? At this point, even if it's on a bench spot, it's worth it at this point because I think he's back in the bigs his next start, which could be either this weekend or early next week. So you got to go out there and snag Dustin May. He's right. Jesus Luzardo's here. Dustin May's right here. If you're not watching on YouTube, one's right under the other. They're very, very close to each other as far as talent goes, and I think they're both going to be might be a little bullish, but I think top 30 starting pitchers coming into next year because they're both going to finish the year very strong, in my opinion. Once again, we're talking Dustin May here for the 800th million time, 52% on Yahoo. That's got to be closer to 80% in my opinion.
Yeah, May is incredible. It's very exciting. I know a lot of people that actually just sat around and held them all last year until he got called up. Then he got hurt. So I think that he's definitely worth it. And he could be one of those guys that kind of leads you to fantasy glory at the end of the year. So, definitely scoop his up.
Guys, go grab him. Come on, stop it already. Stop at the game. Stop at the silliness here.
Oh, man, dude. I didn't realize it's like the battle of Alex's for the next guys here.
Yeah, well, we can kind of blend them in together here. So, guys, we got Alex Wood and Alex Cobb, both San Francisco Giants here. And Matt, is there one that you like a little bit more than the other? Because they're very, very similar to me. That's kind of why I threw them both on here.
I mean, I kind of like Wood just because of where he pitches.
Yeah.
Like Wood is playing Pitt 2 coming up on the 14th, which is in 4 days. So probably Sunday? Today's Wednesday. So he's definitely worth it. I mean, and they're at home too, so they're not going to take him to the yard and get him going. I think he's going to be able to light them up and get you a real nice start for the end of the week. For sure. And he's not pitching bad either over the last month. 27 innings, he's got 27 Ks, 2 dubs, ERA at 3.33 and a one whip. That's solid numbers for somebody who's scooping up off waivers.
Yeah. Alex, guys, once again, I sound like a broken record, but if you've been playing fantasy at all the last, 10 years, you've heard of Alex Wood. Even if you're just a baseball fan, you've heard of Alex Wood. He's been very, very good at times. He almost won a Cy Young in 2017, man. With that 2.72 ERA on the Dodgers. He pitched very, very good that year. He's got a career 3.57 ERA, a career 1.22 WHIP, so you'll live with that. Very close to a strikeout per inning guy, right under that. And as Matt said, he gets Pittsburgh here on the 14th, so at minimum, you're going to stream him for that. 4 out of his last 6 starts have been very successful. So you know what? If he goes out there, he pitches good against Pittsburgh. You ride the wave there, and he's 56% owned against Alex Wood, San Francisco Giants. I would go out there and take the shot. If he's available in your league, you need a back end starting pitcher. You're fill out the end of your rotation heading into the playoffs. Matt, I think you made the right call there. I think I would go Wood over Cobb, but they're both San Francisco Giants, so they both had a lot of upside coming into the year. And let's switch over to Cobb now. Cobb gets the Diamondbacks on the 15th, so it looks like he might be lined up for 2 starts next week.
Nice.
On the year, Cobb is a little bit more of the strikeout guy, a little bit less control. On the year, Cobb's got 93 innings, 100 Ks, 4.15 ERA, and a 1.29 WHIP. But once again, Cobb has been a very reliable pitcher, pretty much his whole career, dating back to those days with Tampa Bay. And I just think that, they both have upside, here coming into the final stretch. Cobb is a little bit less owned at 37%. And I think these two pitchers, are turning it up here at the end of the year. Cobb hasn't been as good as Wood lately, but, once again, if you're looking more in the strikeout department, you need a 2-start guy for next week. Alex Cobb is out there, guys. You could totally go snag him, and I feel confident at least for that Arizona start.
Absolutely. I think Cobb's a great ad. I think that, there's really not much to say. Why don't you hit it off with those closes, bro?
All right. So let's go with somebody that I know Matt doesn't want to talk about. So I'll take the lead there. Looks like, kind of as I was predicting, it looks like the Phillies are going to play, who's that closer, these days in the 9th inning, because they give Sir Anthony Dominguez the chance, on August 9th. I would say this, I know he was dropped in a lot of leagues when they got David Robertson. But you know what? If this is kind of almost a desperation play or a dart throw here, because he's not going to get every save. But Sir Anthony Dominguez, if you pick him up, at least you're getting ratios, right? In 40 innings this year, he has 49 Ks, 5 wins, 7 saves, 1.56 ERA, and a 0.87 WHIP. So I'll tell you this: you could pick him up. He's going to help you in ERA. He's going to help you in WHIP. He's going to throw in a win and a save every once in a while, and he's a big strikeout guy. So that's my really only point of bringing this guy up, just to let you know that if he was dropped in your league and you need, some good ratios, a save here or there, a win here or there, Sir Anthony Dominguez is down to 49% owned. I know he was up over 70 before the David Robertson move. So, if you're desperate there, I would go out there and give Sir Anthony a look, at least for minimum ratios.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of got to go with like whoever has the hot hand at this point, and whoever's getting the opportunity. Right now, he is not great about it, but a lot of people have a lot of faith in him. So you know what, just roll with him. I'm not really a big fan.
Matt, you're turning the corner a little bit here.
Did you hear the end of that statement? I'm not really a big fan. Oh,
is the haterade? Do we got the haterade on that? There we go.
I spilled some on my pants. It's kind of cold. But I'm not really a fan. But we'll see what happens. Hey, who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just got too much haterade going on. But it is what it is.
Matt, I'll say this just so you know, guys. I do agree with Matt in the sense of it's going to be the hot hand in Philly. It's not going to be. I'm not by no means am I saying Sir Anthony's the guy. But once again, if you want strikeouts ratios, a save every once in a while, you can go the Sir Anthony Dominguez route. Because it's showing that they will give him some opportunities to grab saves here down the stretch.
So here's a guy that I dropped like a bozo, thinking he was going to lose his job, and that's Tanner Scott. Even though he has 5 ERA on the month, because he's been getting blown up even in all these saves, getting some blown saves, but he's still getting save opportunities for some reason. So, I mean, he at least has 1 so far in the week, 2 over the last 2 weeks, and 3 over the last month. So he's getting the opportunities, and he's one of those, like, I'm not really running out to go and get him, but he is doing the job and getting you the stat. And I mean, he's only pitching 5 innings, so who cares? So like, it's not really going to blow up your ERA either. So I mean, I would just leave him out there just to grab something if you're desperate. If you have a good set of closes, I wouldn't waste your time.
Yeah, guys, this segment here, is kind of just to let you know, guys that are somewhat available and getting the job done, because at this point in the year, it's very tough to come across a free agent closer that's getting saves. You know, a lot of these guys are grabbed up by this point, but Tanner Scott is 49% owned on Yahoo. As Matt mentioned, it's a 4.23 ERA on the season, a 1.4 WHIP. But he's got 15 saves, and he's a big strikeout guy too. 44 innings, 64 Ks. So if you need some strikeouts, you know, a save here or there, you know, you grab Tanner Scott off the waiver wire, and you just kind of got to roll with it because you know what, he is going to get, you know, blown save and knocked around, you know, every couple of outings there, you know, because it indicates it by what he's done so far on the year. But you know what, you know, you could probably do a lot worse, you know, than that. And next up, we got somebody I spoke about once on the podcast before, and you know, looks like since David Bednar has hit the IL, we don't know how long he's going to be out for. You know what? You can give Yerry De Los Santos a try. You know, he's been getting hit around. Well, it's really one bad outing. Two bad outings over the last 30 days where he, you know, kind of inflated his numbers a little bit. On August 3rd, he got knocked around a little bit against Milwaukee. You know, and then on July 29th, he got knocked around a little bit against Philly. But besides that, you know, his last two outings have been pretty good. You know, he's got a couple strikeouts, 2.1 innings pitched over the last, you know, few days here. And on the year, his numbers are pretty good too. On the year, Yerry De Los Santos has 25 innings, 26 Ks, 3 saves, 3.51 ERA, 109 WHIP. 1% owned on Yahoo, guys. We got to get that up to at least maybe 30, 40%, you know, until David Bednar gets back. And listen, if I was trying to grab any of the three guys for saves specifically, I'd probably go De Los Santos over Scott and Dominguez. But if I was looking for somebody that's going to be more consistent and help me out across all of the stats, that's probably Sir Anthony Dominguez. But you know what? You can kind of take your pick here. We're giving you three options, you know, as of right now. And I think De Los Santos is, you know, the one that will probably get you the most saves over the next couple of weeks here. So, you know what? Give him a shot. Once again, the guy is 1% owned. Yerry De Los Santos on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Go out there and go get that up to 20%.
Yeah, definitely not wrong, man. I don't think I have much to cover after what you just said there. So, you know, I think we just call it. Guys, you know, if you can, please 5-star review, 5 stars review, like us, subscribe.
We'd appreciate it.
We'd really appreciate it because that means you get to come back next year. My wife doesn't have to tell me I'm wasting my time. So if you can,
it would mean a lot at this point, guys. So until then, we'll catch you guys on Monday.
Later.